All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for riding along. Today we're doing kind of a, I guess, regular weekend style scenario for hopefully plenty of people out there. Get to go to the gym and gotta run a couple errands on the way home. So we're gonna see if Grok can map everything we need to do, and then we're going to see what we learn on the drive. All right, so we're downtown right now, and we're gonna see if we can get Grok to take us where we're trying to go back towards home. Hey, Kit, I want to go find a Starbucks back towards home, but let's find something on the way. And then I need to go to the Harris Teeter over off Leesville after that. And then from there, we'll go home.
Hey, there's a Starbucks at 609 West P Street, just 0.4 miles west from here toward home. Want me to set a route to that? Then the Harris Teeter at 13210 Strickland Road near Leesville, and home after?
Yeah.
Route set to Starbucks on West P Street first, then Harris Teeter on Strickland Road, and home after. 4 minutes to the coffee, all set.
All right, so I already had to tell it where to go here. I'm not sure where it thought it was going, but we got to exit this parking deck. I know that let's see,
Got it. Navigation's locked in. Just
it should recognize the vehicle, but I didn't like that. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so what I learned on that is you definitely can't self-drive your way with the seatbelt off, which I guess makes sense. This is a disaster. All right, so put it in park. I have to scan this parking receipt. Couldn't remember if this garage did that or not, and it didn't like anything I was doing there. All right, so everything should still be in the directions as far as what it remembers, and we got some low sun. It definitely did not appreciate what I did there, although that was kind of a cluster. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if I needed to scan this code to get out of that garage or if it just remembered the car. And I tried. It was inside. Oh, there we go. Okay, that was good. Saw that dude pulling out right away. Let him go. And I couldn't remember if it was, or I had it in self driving, and then I tried to unbuckle my seatbelt, and it really didn't like that, which is quite logical. So strike that one. That's one more in the experience bucket. And then I had to move up, scan the code, and what I was trying to say before all that cluster was I had read that the current version of full self-driving in these cars is doing a better job with logic and reasoning around gates and waiting on gates and proceeding through gates. You've seen probably, there's been videos about drive-throughs. I haven't tried that. So it did fine with that gate. It knew it was okay to go and proceed as soon as I was buckled in and I hit the button. It went right back to it, which that's definitely one thing that I've liked. Even today, earlier today, before going to the gym, had to run a lot of errands. And it's definitely nice when the car does know where it's going as far as the next destination. And you're in the parking lot and you just got to get moving and you just hit the button and let it worry about, is it okay to pull out of the parking spot right now? All right, so the Starbucks is actually right here. It's kind of hard to get in and out of, but let's see how it looks today. There's a little parking. And it looks like there's a spot close to the front. We're going to go past that. So I like to take that and then back in. When I've been backing in, I've been trying to make sure that I look around and see, is anybody going to be pissed at me because they don't understand what I'm doing or what I'm trying to do. Oh, this is a rare correction. It's pretty good about nailing the back ends in the first time, but it was the angle was just not attainable there. So I like that it will get it right regardless. All right, time to run in and get some Starbucks, and then we'll resume. All right, that weather is brutal out there. All right, so we still got the routes we need in here. It saved the routes just like planned, and we're going to take back off. Now, if you're watching my videos, you've probably seen me go to Whole Foods and now Starbucks right in a row. How freaking stereotypical is that? For the record, my wife requested Starbucks for me to bring it home. And as any of you out there who intend to be married for the long term know, when that occurs, when that request occurs, that is what shall happen. Take the easy wins where you can get them. All right, so it did a good job pulling out of there, and now we are en route back out of downtown here. And I wanted to see how it would perform on these roads near downtown, because there's quite a few where sometimes cars are parked on the side, sometimes they're not. Sometimes people forget to cut over, kind of at the last minute and stuff. Also, you can see the leaves blowing across the road here. It's extremely windy here today because of a big drop in temperature. It's a lot of wind. And it was blowing like this earlier today on the interstate. And it was one of those days where the gusts are coming so strong, it's pushing the car around. And I was wondering kind of how it would feel with the car taking care of it, because I know how it feels when I'm driving and I have to deal with that. And the car, is able to react so precisely to the stimulus of the wind that I barely noticed it. I know when I'm driving, I have to react to it. A big gust hits the car. Granted, this car is pretty aerodynamic, but still, you could tell. I was watching the steering wheel when it was driving down the interstate with the wind gusts, and there were just these little quick adjustments kind of balancing everything out that you could barely even tell unless you were looking for it. So that was pretty cool. But I think one of the things that I noticed earlier today while running errands, what am I in here? We're in Mad Max? Okay. I'll tell you a Mad Max story here in a second. But one of the things that I noticed earlier today was that we had a lot of stops to make for running errands. And this is just a plug, I guess, for the premium interior. I was trying to get kind of the lowest lease payment possible when I chose this car. And if I wanted the absolute lowest, I think that would have been called the standard interior or whatnot. But I went with the premium interior because it comes with the screen in the back. And even though I'm not the type of person that lets my kids watch tablets all the time, and certainly they don't have phones yet, they're younger, I did see the value in having a screen back there that could be used at times to occupy the kids, play games. Seemed like a good idea while I was doing it, well worth the additional expense. Here's a case where there's cars along the side of the road. We didn't have to worry about that, but sometimes you can get stuck over there if you're not ready for it. So today, when we were running errands and everything, being able to have that screen back there with Netflix hooked up to it, where it's logged into like a kid's account, was amazing. And what I did with it was have my kids connect their Bluetooth headphones to it, so they can just listen to the same kids show while riding along and running a bunch of errands. Running errands can be pretty stressful when you got little kids that, are good sports about it, but are kind of like, when are we going to do something fun? And them being able to listen to a show they're watching, and we're basically riding in peace and quiet for having to get the errands done, that is well worth it. So if anybody out there is considering um, whether you should get the premium interior or not, if you have kids, highly recommend. Other thing I highly recommend if you have kids is, I spoke to both my kids about, should can you please keep your feet off the seats? I mean, I said it, but I'm listening to myself going, that's not happening. And so I don't want to stress about the back of the seats and them getting scraped or scratched or just generally beat up over time, because you can wipe them down, which I was doing, but they're going to get them dirty. So I found there are these seat covers for the back of the seats that you can find on Amazon. Not expensive at all. The color matches the interior black really well. They clip around the back of the seat and then clip underneath the seat, and it's a very tight fit the way it tucks in. I didn't even notice at first that there was an opportunity to tuck a seat cover in. I wonder if Tesla designed the back of the seat that way with that in mind. It's very cool. So once I got those covers on there, aside from a few little wrinkles in it from the shipping that I believe will smooth out, you wouldn't even know there were seat covers on the seats. And now here I am with the kids. I noticed just from today, of course, there's some smudges on there, some dirt, and I'm like, okay, no biggie. Like, I'll wipe it off, and I know the seat underneath is perfectly good to go. So I'm all for the world we're living in right now. Is everybody is running on like 10 out of 10 stress level, and it's blame the media, blame whatever, but everybody's stressed out, doesn't have enough time, has too much to do, and is angry at their neighbors and all this stuff that's not really all that good. But my point is, anything you can do, whether it's with technology or seat covers or a car that drives itself, is going to help you manage your cumulative stress load in life. Just today, even driving to the gym on the other way on this drive, there's these sections of this road where it's not only that you have cars, but you have stone curbs that are closer to the road and it's more narrow. And every time I go through there, I just think to myself, do not bang one of my wheels off one of those stone curbs. Well, it's just a little bit of stress that just adds to the trip, and you're trying to get there on time. And driving through there today, no concerns. Just cars got it. I don't have to worry about that stone curb in terms of losing concentration or worried what somebody's doing around me. It's just such a relief off of the normal things you have to take ownership of. It truly is like promoting yourself to supervisor. Some of you may be actual supervisors at work, whatever, but whether you are or not, when it comes to driving, I say you should give yourself a promotion and promote yourself to supervisor as soon as possible. Because honestly, at this point, I've only had this car a little over a week now. If I had to go back, I mean, obviously I could do it, but certainly would not want to. It's kind of like using AI at work now. It's like, I was not gonna go through there. That's fine. I probably could have forced it through. Using AI at work now is like so second nature to get stuff done, whether it's emails or responses or reports or stuff like that, that you just, like, to take it away, you would feel like you were just so sluggishly trudging through things without that quick ability to knock things out and reduce some friction. So I feel like driving is going the same direction, where it's like, that's not friction you need in your life, in my opinion. I had a couple other interesting things happen when we were out earlier. I don't know if there's dash cam footage of it. I wasn't taping like I am right now, but one interesting thing happened where the car was going to go, we needed to go left. I couldn't get over to turn left on this intersection, so I saw on the map I could cut through a neighborhood. So I took control and turned into the neighborhood to get to where we needed to go, and then turned FSD back on so that it could drive itself. And we came around this curve in the neighborhood, and I immediately realized what was going on in front of me was a little boy, maybe 9, 10 years old at most, was chasing a little dog into the street and had just picked it up and was standing with this little dog, cupping it in his arms as he just got it and was starting to get out of the street. And slightly before I realized what was going on, the car was reducing speed and assessing how much do I need to account for this situation. Now, something I'm very curious about is this was a small dog, maybe couldn't have been more than 10-pound dog. And I do wonder, I know bigger dogs it considers pedestrians because I see that in terms of how it maps it. But I do wonder how good the image recognition is or how it processes the images like a human. Obviously, a human can look and say, oh, well, that's a dog, and let's take extra care to try and not hit a dog in the street. Now, I value all lives. Hopefully you do too. But when it comes to evasive maneuvers, I'm not making the same maneuver for a squirrel as I am for somebody's dog. So that's just my position on it. I mean, I'm not going to try to hit the squirrel. I slow down for squirrels. Let's be clear. But I'm not going to go to the same lengths over a crazy freaking squirrel darting through the road that I am with a dog. And obviously, you still got to be safe in general and not wreck the car and not overreact. But what I am curious about is, will the car in a small dog situation treat it like a squirrel or not? Because I'll tell you, the other day, I was leaving my neighborhood. A squirrel did run out last minute. And I don't know if I could have missed that squirrel if I was driving, because it was very last second. But by the time I started to do something about it, squirrel's days were done. And I felt bad about that. But it was one of those situations where there was just not much time to react. But the car did not change anything about what it was doing, and the squirrel basically ran right in front of the tires at the last second. So, you know, I'm just be curious. Maybe there's some more videos out there. I don't want to pull up videos of animals getting hit, but maybe there's some more information out there about how squirrels or how squirrels behave, how the car behaves around those situations. Now, another thing I've been experimenting with today is throttle input. See, I didn't call it the gas pedal. But with throttle input, it's interesting that you can use it as a way to adjust kind of what you're doing on the road without taking it out of self-driving. So several times today, I've experimented with that where, you know, maybe it's a 45-mile-per-hour road, the coast is clear, it's getting up to speed. Well, you know, my driving style is maybe a little Mad Max-ish, and I like to get up to speed a little bit faster. And so I'd give the throttle a little bit of input, and it would accelerate and stay in self-driving. Now, I did test to see how much throttle can I give it before it basically says, like, okay, no more self-driving. And it flashed up a warning up here that said autopilot about to disengage or something to that effect. And then I stopped and it kept going. I also noticed sometimes when I give it throttle, it will stay at that higher speed. Maybe it's 10 over the speed limit. And other times it will go up to that higher speed, but it'll start to increment back down a little bit. And who knows, you know, how it decides exactly all those things. But I found that to be kind of interesting as well. Here's some reasons I can think of why you'd want to be able to give it throttle, not just to be getting somewhere 30 seconds faster, which I'm certainly guilty of. But one example would be, as somebody I see myself as an offensively defensive driver. I will be on the assertive, sometimes a little aggressive side, and I can definitely do a better job of not being overly aggressive at times with my maneuvering. But one thing I will definitely do is I will use the throttle to not just ride next to somebody side by side. I think in general, in the set of, you know, possible things that it can occur, anything can happen on the road, like a squirrel or a dog or somebody running out on the road or a car coming out of nowhere. Anything can happen on the road. So why do I want to be side by side with somebody and limit the options I have as to where I can go? I don't. So I will only ride side by side next to somebody in any situation when I have no choice. Nice lane switch there to keep passing people. I like that. And I'll give it a little gas right now just to step it up. All right, good. So that just eased us forward a little bit, but now it realizes that that's a turn only at this point. So it went ahead and did what it wanted to do, because it narrows down to one lane right here. So that was actually a good example where it seems to be able to read what's on the road in addition to knowing you can see right here, it's mapping that turn arrow that's on the road. Although, yeah, and then one up there too. It's mapping that as well. So, and there is really one next to the car right now. I can see it. So it seems to read those on the road. It seems to read the road signs. I don't know if it reads all the road signs, but it does react pretty well to those. So not riding next to somebody, that's definitely a reason to give it throttle. And let me try this now. I will say, I did get my wife a Starbucks. It's in the back cup holder. And I'm like, well, that green tea thing, I guess, sounds good. So I'm going to try it too. Never had a green tea latte. I think this will be my first and my last. Okay. Some other reasons that I think you would want to give it some throttle is rolling up to a stop sign. So it does tend to stop short, and I don't want to get bumped in the rear end by somebody who just is accustomed to a car stopping closer to an intersection. So I have found myself now starting to give it a little bit of gas, give it the throttle to approach the stop sign a little bit more, but it does want to come to a complete stop. So it's not going to just let you run through the stop sign by any means. The other thing that I like is passing situations. So obviously if it's in Mad Max, it tends to be pretty assertive with its passing already, which is good. But maybe you want to do something a little bit different, or maybe you want to position yourself in the left lane. So you can, it seems like you can combine these things together. So you can put your turn signal on and give it a little bit extra acceleration and sort of pass more assertively if you want to do that. All right, this person's turning. It tends to react very promptly to turn signals, is what I've already noticed. It maintains a safe distance too. I actually feel safer riding in this car, not just because it can see everything all the time way better than I can, but because it's like you're your own worst enemy sometimes as a driver. You know, like when you're responsible for the driving and the decisions, it's like, let me just get where I'm trying to go. And we all know there's plenty of, human beings, we only have so much decision capacity and energy each day, and our tank gets drained. And so especially if you're extra tired, hungry, whatever, you're going to make worse decisions. Like, there's no debating that. And that's certainly true behind the wheel. You put on top of that the level of stress that most people are carrying with them, and you get like overly aggressive. You get like to where you feel like you're entitled to the space around your vehicle. All right, see, I just throttled up there. Took us right up to 48. Let's see what happens if I do it again. All right, now that took us right up to 54 in a 45, which is about where I'd like to be on a road like this. It's holding because we got clear road. It's going to drop it down a little bit here. It seems to go drop a few miles per hour when you have a little bit less visibility, stuff like that. But I'm okay with that. Because kind of like what I was just saying, when you're responsible, you tend to make worse decisions just in general as a human being from all sorts of reasons. For example, there's somebody slower in front of you. I know I'm guilty of not leaving enough space all the time. I've gotten better about that over the years. I definitely don't tailgate as bad as I used to, but especially if you're late or you're just whatever irritated at traffic, it's easy to ride somebody's bumper, and that's not a good idea. So what I mean by I feel safer is not only is the car seeing everything and reacting better than I can, it's much more vigilant than I can be. It's staying at safer follow distances for whatever may happen. And it doesn't, riding on somebody's bumper doesn't actually get you somewhere faster. And this is logical. We know this. Yet we still do it. And I know I do. I'm sure there are some very If you're one of these people out there that can be a very mellow driver and just get to where you're going, God bless you. But that's not my driving style, personally. Now, I have a good driving record, and I hope that continues as my. I hope to build a strong supervision record now, I guess, in my supervising resume in the car. But it's just like you're playing with fire a little bit when you're making those little questionable decisions, dodging in and out of traffic. You can't quite always keep up with what's in your blind spot. These are all things we accept as normal and part of driving. But eventually, something weird happens, and that's why accidents occur, right? That's why they call them accidents. So I'm definitely feeling like I'm more safe in this vehicle. And I don't know how different people might feel in their perceptions. There's some people, like I talked to my uncle about this over text message. He's pretty old school. And not surprisingly, the first thing he said was like, that's cool for you, but no computer is driving for me. I'm the driver. I drive. And there's a lot of people out there like that. So I do wonder how some of those people out there would feel about, for example, putting your kids in the car and letting a computer drive you without children, or with your children in the car. I mean, obviously that you better be damn confident as the parent and guardian of these people's lives. And I am. I do feel it. Now, obviously, I'm actively supervising and ready to take over, but I have yet to experience a single situation on the roads, parking lots aside. I have yet to experience a single situation where I was like, I'm not too sure about this. I'm going to take over. I did have, a couple parking lot takeovers today, mostly for like preferences of where in the parking lot I wanted to park, and trying to stay away from other cars and not get mine hit. But there was a couple instances where it wanted to leave the parking lot in a direction that was just like, no, we're not doing that. So I had a couple of those today. And then there was another case where, where the map was trying to go was just not what I wanted to do. So I took over and rerouted and turned it back on. That's the kind of stuff I've been doing. I have yet to take over in any sort of open driving situation where, it's like, oh, this is bad. This is dangerous. Let me make sure I take over here. Like that hasn't even been close to happening. I haven't been like, oh, wow, that was a close one. I wish I had taken over there. That has literally not even crossed my mind at any point yet. All right, so let's see how it does with this parking lot. There's a lot of places you can go in this. Oh, this is interesting. It's not going through the roundabout this time. So maybe this is more of a it learned from it type thing. This is a twisty turny parking lot, this one. I would not expect it to cut across through here. Now, there's a lot of parking spaces, but we're going off to the right over here, and I see a parking space I do want. Looks like it's going to continue over in that direction, so I'm going to wait just a little bit more before I take over. Oh, there's one I really want that somebody just left, so we're going to go take that one. It's actually going in there right now. All right, it's letting that person go. It seems to be pretty patient with how it handles turn situations. Now, here's what I've been doing in the parking lots. I know the space I want is that one right there. So I'm going to hit that and hit park and let it do its thing. That's the parking spot I saw. That's the parking spot I wanted. I do like the back and end thing. It's probably going to correct right here. Once again, it didn't have the angle. I'm actually learning. I feel like I'm learning about how to be. Oh, now here's a person coming right behind us. Cart saw it and stopped. There you go. You hear that beep? That was the human walking directly behind a vehicle backing up. Silly humans. So that was another great example of the car seeing everything. That's the second time I've had a human being walk right behind the vehicle when it was trying to back up. They're like squirrels, I tell you.
Nice try to mines.